So I think when you sent me the message back in 2024, you had 200K in payouts from various prop firms. But before we dive into that, I want to first work out, how did you get to the point where you were able to trade consistently profitable?
I'm not going to talk about how it all started because I started like 5 years ago with trading itself. Tried out many different strategies, and throughout those years, like me and my brother noticed a certain candle type, especially on gold, like just from a lot of chart time. And then we really focus on just that one candle for our bias and also for our trade execution.
What do you think separates traders who consistently withdraw like yourself and your brother versus those who consistently blow accounts?
The biggest difference is we don't aim like for home runs. We just go for the consistency. So I have like multiple accounts where I had, for example, like over a few months on just one single account, over like 30% gain. And other accounts, 20% gain, 15% gain. So I really focus on maintaining the accounts.
All right, folks, here we are on Trading Nut. We've got Hamza G in the house, one of the funded brothers. These guys are taking the prop trading world by storm and have been doing for the past couple of years. Now, what you're going to find out is how they managed to do it, where they started, how they managed to become really good prop firm traders who are withdrawing on a regular basis, trading gold, NASDAQ, and a few other markets. So welcome to the show, Hamza.
Hello, thank you for having me on, Cam.
Well, look, you're all the way over there in Austria, so I can't wait to hear your story. And I've seen some of your stuff, and you've got so many payouts. It's absolutely ridiculous. I think when you sent me the message back in 2024, you had 200K in payouts from various prop firms. But before we dive into that, I want to first work out, how did you get to the point where you were able to trade consistently profitable? What was that journey into success?
So I'm not going to talk about how it all started because I started like 5 years ago with trading itself. Tried out many different strategies. Like I'm speaking of like Fibonacci candles and whatsoever, like Fibonacci strategies, Elliott waves, support resistance, whatsoever. And throughout those years, like me and my brother noticed a certain candle type, especially on gold, like just from a lot of chart time. And then we really focus on just that one candle for our bias and also for our trade execution. And throughout, like I would say, 3 years, we only traded this strategy and optimize it to a level where we can say, okay, this is a buy, this is a sell, whatsoever. I don't need like a lot of analysis whatsoever. And pretty much, I would say, a solid strategy that is data-based and like statistically profitable. So you have like the mental capacity to say, okay, I know that my strategy is profitable. All I have to do is just execute relentlessly, not getting in to psychological issues like FOMO, greed, whatsoever. And I think if you have that, then it can just go up from there.
And so obviously this is great that you've just focused on one candle and just gone at it. I mean, that's fantastic. And it sounds like a very simple approach, which hopefully we get to have a look at some of it on the chart in a bit. But one question I've got is, so you talked about data. So how did you get the data to really give you the confidence that this was going to be a setup that would work, going forward?
Yeah, so obviously, if you want to go fast with like proving or seeing if a strategy is profitable or not, you have to back test it, because in real time, it's going to take a long time so you can see the live markets. But what we did is like we back tested also like together, and that was like during COVID times and stuff. Like we had like a lot of time during the lockdown periods and stuff. And we were just like back testing 10 hours, 12 hours straight, that strategy. and we mastered it then to a point where we could say, okay, if we add a few important like key levels, areas of interests, then the strategy is more powerful. And then we started backtesting it again with those criteria. And then what we have done is after like, I think it was like over like 1,000 trades backtesting, we then watched the live markets and then only like looking for that one candle. And I'm speaking like from the 1 minute time frame all the way to the daily time frame, just to get the reps in for that candle. And then it just like after I would say 3.5 years, we could like just write it down as simple as possible and then have a checklist. So almost no discretion, I would say. In trading, you know, okay, there's always some kind of discretion, but we framed it in a way where I could just like answer you a question about my strategy immediately. Like I don't have to think about something whatsoever. It's very, very simple, but really, really effective.
It's interesting that you said that you obviously back tested it heaps, and then you sort of realized that it worked better with key levels and areas of interest. Was this, when you were back testing it, because I've often done this, whereas I've seen a candle or a pattern or something, gone and back tested it, thought it was going to be great. Like the first 10 that I saw were awesome, and then I went back further and further, and then all of a sudden the whole thing fell apart. Did you have that kind of scenario where like you were like, we've got to find, we know it works, but it only works within this framework or whatever? How did you get through that sort of, I suppose, wire mesh maze kind of thing? Hey, start trading Forex, indices and commodities with up to 800k of Blue Guardian's capital risk-free. Just pay a small one-time fee to take the challenge, hit a profit target and get funded. Then keep up to 90% of your profits and enjoy fast weekly payouts. Now for futures traders, Blue Guardian Futures offers up to 450k in funding with 100% profit on your first 15k. With low targets, no activation fees and unlimited resets, it's one of the best deals in the industry. Visit blueguardian.com or blueguardianfutures.com to start trading today and grab their limited time discount code.
Yeah, I really get your point, because when I think about like our strategy, what comes into my mind immediately is our strategy works the best when the market is trending. So we have a trending market. Doesn't matter if it's bullish or bearish, but it has to trend for our strategy to be the most effective. So obviously in times, and that was also the data from the backtest, so I'm already prepared for that if I see a ranging market, that when, for example, the market is trending, the win rate is maybe like 80 to 90%, but if it's ranging, it comes all the way down to 60%. And I'm speaking like of 1 to 2 risk reward ratios, right. Like nothing crazy.
Yeah.
And because the backtesting data showed us that throughout the years, that if the market is ranging, it's more likely that the win rate is going to go down. You just accept that and move on. Because why? Because the rest of the year or the market cycle whatsoever will prevail and you will still come out of top, And that's why we said like, okay, this works. It's simple. It's effective. Yes, we do know that we will most likely have a losing streak or have like a drawdown period whatsoever, or like a period where the win rate is lower. But over the long run, I haven't seen something better, to be completely honest.
So
and that's why I'm sticking to it,
Yeah. So it kind of sounds like instead of you guys trying to find ways to avoid a range or find a trend, you just got to sit through and accept that it's going to have some pretty crappy periods that you deal with emotionally.
Yeah, it's really like that, because like I, as a trader, I can't know if the market is going to range today, the whole week, the next month, whatsoever. I could maybe assume it, depending on like previous data. I don't know, like maybe summer period, winter time, whatsoever. But the market could be trending at that time as well. I don't know. I just have like statistics backing certain arguments up, but I don't know for 100%, and that's why I'm just going to accept it and go with that mindset to the market. That way, what's the most important part of this is psychologically, I'm already in a state of acceptance. I just take what the market gives me, so I'm not surprised whatsoever, And I think uh, for psychology, that's the best approach, because what makes and breaks traders at the end of the day is most of the time the psychology.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, the other thing I suppose I want to touch on is the timeframes. You talked about 1 minute to daily. I mean, where did you land with the time that what the time frame you actually wanted to trade?
Yeah. So I would say 1 to 2 years ago, I was also like scalping on the 1 minute, 5 minute, like usually 1 to 5 minutes on an intraday basis, and usually just during a New York session. And why did I do that? First of all, so I have more experience in a short period of time, because I did that before too, but not on that level. So more experience, because I believe that time is fractal. So if we have a candlestick chart and we don't know what time frame that is, we will probably make the same assumptions on that chart,
Yeah.
And so I don't believe that the daily should be traded differently or the weekly, just a time difference. So that's why I just did that on the 1 minute and 5 minutes. So I have more data, but I know for a fact that the probability of our trades, like of the strategy, I would say, is a bit lower on the lower time frames and gets higher and higher if you go up in time frames. So that's why I had like a lot of scalping experience. And it's also like, because when you have like small accounts whatsoever, you still want to trade like bigger lots whatsoever, and then you need like like really tiny stop losses. And back then we were not really trading on prop firms, so we were just trying to maybe flip personal accounts whatsoever, and just grow the account from there. And that's why, like we wanted to have like the bigger lot sizes, so you can like grow the accounts whatsoever. But obviously, it's much more easier if you have like the bigger capital, can trade just like on a fixed percentage base whatsoever. And then also like with experience, you see, okay, I don't have to watch the 1 minute time frame. I'm also good with the 15-minute time frame whatsoever. Or let's say like if it's really volatile, the 5 minute is completely enough. And yeah, that's why right now, for example, most of my trades are based on the 1 hour, and I would say a little bit around 30 to 50% max are based on the 50-minute time frame.
15-minute. Okay, cool. And so like let's throw a couple of sort of scenarios out here. Like so, you talked about flipping accounts, and obviously you've moved into prop firms, so you seem quite malleable, flexible in terms of your approach. So if you had to make, say, like somebody put a gun to your head and say you had to make $10,000 in 30 days with just $500, how would you go about doing it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, do I have the same skills?
You got the same skills, you got all the
Okay.
knowledge, the skills, you got $500. That's all you've got.
Okay, so that's a really tough one. I would have two options. So either I try to flip the account on like a personal account whatsoever, or what I would do is I would give me I would give myself, normally I would say 4 challenges, but then the challenge sizes would be a little bit too small. So I would give myself like 2 chances on like, let's say like 50K accounts, like 250K challenges max. And I would really try to only execute like on top setups. And I would probably go with a little bit cheaper but harder challenge
Okay.
because because I have like less capital, so but I have the skills, so it doesn't matter. You know, I could take a harder challenge for less money, and then I would try to get funded, obviously. And with the first payouts, I would try to reinvest that money into new challenges to grow the account, like accounts under management, I would say. And from there, I think 10K should be possible. Like, yeah, 30 days will be tough, but it could be.
It could be possible. Well, it's a good way to do it. So take the cheapest challenges you can get, even
Yeah,
if they're
and
hard
then like
ones.
weekly payouts or like
Yeah.
on-demand payouts, and then you maybe could do that in like 30 days.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Well, look, talking about prop firms. I mean, what's the number one misconception about prop firms that traders get wrong?
I think traders are like, I don't know why. I didn't think that before I came into the space, but like a lot of people don't even know how to trade and try out prop firms. So, and I was really shocked when I saw that because I mean, you are putting in your own money without knowing anything, you know? I mean, you could still do like a free trial whatsoever to see like, okay, what is that about whatsoever. And that's also like why the percentage of the traders who actually get paid out several times, not just once, like several times, is like really really small, like 0.5% or something. Because I talked to a few prop firm owners and I saw the statistics, like it's crazy, it's really crazy. And I mean, if like because I see that like all the time, they cannot handle drawdown. And I mean, even if it's simulated capital, drawdown is still drawdown, you know.
Yeah.
And if you can't handle the drawdown, or is it if it's your last like buck in your pocket, I would not go ahead and like invest it in a prop firm challenge, because that mindset will not like get like it's pretty much like guaranteed that you're gonna blow the challenge, because you're gonna put a lot of meaning to that challenge. And most likely, if you're not experienced enough, you will end up like blowing it anyway. Even if you get funded, you will most likely blow it because you don't have money to back you up. So I think like what I've seen the most is probably this.
Yeah. Well, what do you think separates traders who consistently withdraw, like yourself and your brother, versus those who consistently blow accounts?
I think like the biggest difference is that we don't aim like for home runs. We just go for the consistency. So I have like multiple accounts where I had, for example, like over a few months on just one single account, over like 30% gain, and other accounts 20% gain, 15% gain. So I really focus on maintaining the accounts and not like full porting them with like a lot of risk, etc. So I only like on my funded accounts, I only risk like 0.5% usually. And if I hit like 1 to 2% in profits, then I will just lock the account and then I rotate the accounts. I have multiple
Right.
accounts where I have like a strategy where I always rotate the accounts. Once one account is in profits, then I park it pretty much like for the profit split. So I'm also like diversifying my risk. I'm like always paying myself, because even let's say I'm unprofitable for the month, so I like on paper I didn't do any gains, I'm gonna still get paid because the winning trades most likely ended up in a profit split.
Right. Okay. Right. So you kept the profit split account safe, and you'll get paid. Got
Yes,
it. Got it.
I just delete them immediately, and I even have the rule like for myself, when I secure, like I'm telling myself, okay, I'm gonna secure the bag, okay. I'm just gonna tell my brother so he keeps me accountable, and if I trade on that account, I will like donate all the profits. And even if I lose the profits, I have to donate the profits that I essentially locked beforehand.
Right.
So we have like a rule to like really prevent that from happening.
Yeah, and that's what make a donation to like a charity or something like that.
Yes, exactly.
Right. That's good that you've got the accountability partner in your brother. That's fantastic. I mean,
Yeah,
what about?
I think that's the biggest difference in like what we have in comparison to other traders, because most traders are like alone, and that's why like I would say that's our biggest advantage, that we have both of us.
And do you have any sort of under the radar tactics or trading tactics that help you or could help any trader pass a challenge faster? Hey folks, what a view behind me. I'm at Black Bull Markets headquarters here in Auckland, New Zealand. Speaking of views, you can get TradingView paid plans for free at Black Bull Markets, saving you up to $600 a year. That's right, get either the Essential, Plus or Premium plans absolutely free, and all you need to do is trade from one lot a month at Black Bull Markets. And you can also get a 100% deposit bonus for your first deposit up to $1,000. All you need to do is click the Trading Nut link in the description below.
I would say if you like, this is obviously if you have like a proven strategy that really works and you are profitable, then I would say on the challenge phase, you can risk like 2% on a really solid setup, and then just try to let your winners run, because you don't know, like for example with gold, it can happen that I pass with only just one trade or maybe two trades, because if gold goes in one direction, most likely it's going to continue, and it's not going to stop. And if you just trail your stop alongside and can hold through that move, then you're good to go. I would say put on your trade and put your alerts at what zones you want price to come, and don't over manage your positions if you don't have the experience.
And so just on that, you mentioned 2R as like your sort of average, I don't know, backtesting target. What's your typical R ratio you'd end up getting?
Mm-hmm. So for the last year, my average risk to reward was 3.2 R.
Okay, so that's pretty significant.
Average.
That's quite high. As an average, that's very high.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Now, what about along the way? I'm guessing there were some big trading mistakes. Was there any one that you took or made that took you the longest to fix?
Yeah, the longest to fix was honestly stopping counter trending, like counter trend trading. That was like, I was always looking for reversals whatsoever, because like in the beginnings, I learned like a Fibonacci Elliott wave strategy, and like you're just so stuck within that frame that you think, okay, it's gonna turn here. Okay, now it's gonna probably turn here whatsoever, and then if it's gonna turn, you already blew your account, and you can't even execute on the trade because you incurred so many losses throughout the move, and it just was really the hardest thing I had to like get loose, and after that, like you can like significantly increase your win rate if you just focus on the trend,
And how did you
like
actually?
without changing anything.
How did you get to? How did you overcome it? Because this is something that I mean, I've suffered from for years, and I think a lot of
Yeah,
newbie traders suffer from. They get in, and it's just the trend's already underway, and you're like, well, I've missed the trend, so I've got to catch the reversal if I'm going to get a big move. And you think that you've missed the trend, and the trend carries on and gets exponentially bigger. How did
yeah.
you fix it, even though it took you a while?
I mean, honestly speaking, when I first started, like around COVID time, like gold was making all-time highs back then, and I was shorting gold the entire day. Like every day, I would say, okay, gold is high. What did I learn? Sell high. Okay, I'm gonna sell. Always looking for sells. And max, I've got like on my trades was like 1 to 1 R, and like back then that strategy, it was crazy. You could catch like 1 to 20 risk reward ratios whatsoever. But only hindsight, in hindsight, everyone is like the king.
Genius, yeah.
Yeah, really. And I really, I just can say it just hurt too much to blow account after account. And then like after, I think like for 3 4 years, I could like stop it, even now, now, like here and there, I see myself, okay, like I'm thinking like, okay, like could price really do that? Like, because the human brain, in my opinion, is perfect for trading ranges, because you have extremes.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
like a borderline where you can adapt to things. But once price is out of the range, I think like the normal human mind cannot handle it. And that's why everyone is trying to short when it's up, long when it's down whatsoever, and maybe for long-term investing, whatsoever, it makes sense. But like short-term trading, it doesn't make any sense, like to fight a trend.
That's probably one of the best quotes I've ever heard on the show. I'm not lying here. That epitomizes it. The human brain probably just likes ranges a lot more than trends, which I 100% agree with. Now, what about one lesson you wish someone had told you on day one?
Oh, that's a hard one. I would love to have like someone to tell me, just keep it simple, don't overcomplicate it, and don't overtrade.
Nice.
Like
Nice.
if someone would just tell me don't overtrade, that would be enough already. Because most of the time, what happened in my beginnings is I would make a lot of profits, let's say during the London session, and now I'm thinking like, okay, the New York session, I could like leverage my profits that I've done and make more gains. And usually, what ended up happening is I just blew the account during the New York session. So I was like, I had like huge curse, like psychologically during the day. So that's why I then changed everything up to maximum 1 trade per session.
And did you have like a sort of, I suppose, a turning point where everything kind of changed, or was that the turning point?
I would say the turning point was after I like perfected my strategy, where I know I cannot revenge trade. So let's say, for example, I'm getting stopped out on a trade. I know that with a 90% probability, the market is gonna turn, So if I was in a buy, let's say, and I get stopped out, most likely, at least for that session, price is going to be bearish. So I cannot revenge trade. And most of the time what happened is, and that's also because of the strategies I learned before, was, okay, that's a better retracement, better buying opportunity whatsoever. But market is falling down, like, why are you fighting the market?
Yeah. It's and I think that happens, like, that's another thing that I tend to find happens quite often, where you lose a trade and it's basically just broken. You're going long and everyone else is going short, and that loss is essentially the start of the move that goes down. In fact, that happened to me today. Did I lose it? No, I didn't lose it. I missed the entry short, and then I thought, okay, well, it's probably going to go long, and then I lost that trade. So annoying. Anyway, what about final advice for aspiring traders? Have you got anything there that you want to just leave the listeners with?
I would say, try to find a really data-backed strategy that it's profitable. I don't care how much of a profitability it has, but at least it's profitable and really data-backed, and then just stick to that strategy at least for a year. Because I see a lot of people strategy hopping every 1 to 2 months, and that just doesn't make any sense. I can just see someone's chart, and I already know, okay, they are strategy hopping every month whatsoever. They just do too much analysis on the charts. You can't even I would say not even execute if you just analyze too much, because you will have arguments for both sides, and then you will just end up being okay, I'm going to trade something else, or don't trade at all whatsoever.
Yeah, and you'll go, I'm not going to take that because of this reason.
Exactly.
And then that one goes on to win, and it's like the next one, well, I am going to take it because of the same reason, and it goes on to lose. And then you're like,
exactly.
And then you start revenge trading. Yeah.
Exactly. Just keep it simple. Just one strategy. It's really hard. I know it myself, because I learned many strategies throughout my years. You know that much better than me, most likely. But it's really hard to forget things you have learned, or to unsee the things you first really learned. And it's one of the toughest things. But after a certain time where you stick to one strategy, and also trust the strategy, just execute, over time you will see, okay, you will get used to it, and then you will just stop analyzing in that way, or just marking your charts with the old strategies.
Yeah, it's interesting because and I'm going to throw this at you, because I think you obviously Asia, London, sometimes New York, you're going to trade all those sessions. You're seeing a lot of price action, a lot of candlesticks. I'm guessing at some point in time you're going, well, that's a setup. That setup occurs all the time. That setup occurs all the time. How are you not, I suppose, innovating and improving to get to the point where I'm going, well, do I want to investigate that setup? How are you stopping yourself from doing that?
Yeah, so that's obviously for me, especially as a gold trader for years now. And really, I'm saying, even back then when I was not full-time trading, because I had my own business, I was still the New York session, I was always live at the charts. The New York session, I haven't missed a single New York session the last 5 years, I would say. So, of course, if you ask me something like this, for example, just what comes in my mind is comics open, so 8:20 a.m. Eastern time. Always a sweep, and then a reversal whatsoever, really nasty move. You could maybe treat it just a news move as well. You could get the setup every day from just that time. But obviously, it doesn't really suit me because it's not data based. Like I don't have the data to back that up. I just have like the mental memory of that time and what happens usually during that time. And what I just do is simply I look at my previous trades, and then I'm saying like, okay, I risked my hard-earned money on that trade. It was worth it because it was a valid setup. Is this worth my money? Is this worth my mental edge? Because after a certain time, I'm like, even though it maybe sounds like somewhat like out of the roof whatsoever, after a certain time, you don't focus on the money aspect of trading. You focus on your mental edge. Like, because I don't want to ruin my psychology because I traded a invalid setup, even though it worked or not. It doesn't matter. But if I can't explain the setup with just 3 words, 4 words whatsoever, just literally simple sentence, then most likely it was not a valid setup, And then if it's like also like a loss, then it's gonna ruin your psychology, And I think no money is worth that, because we as humans, we have only our brains, and we should keep that, and we should treat that well. And because I'm making my money with my brain. I don't do it with my body whatsoever, only my brain, my eyes, maybe fingers. That's it.
Yeah. And I suppose, because you're also, and I don't know if we touched on this on the show or you mentioned it beforehand, but you expanded from gold into NAS and a couple of other markets. I can't remember what they were, but with the same setup, it means you probably don't need to add another strategy in and just muddy the waters, so to speak. And then you're like, well, which strategy am I trading? This one or that one? You've got, I can see your dilemma and why you're not non-dilemma, as to why you're not doing, well, there's a setup. Yeah. I could take that. I know it works. The last 3 weeks it's worked. Hey, look, Hamza, definitely. It's been fantastic having you on, doing an interview. We're hopefully going to jump in and do a little charting video after this.
So we had like a range, and then with London session, this is like the first candle, 8 a.m. London time. We have the manipulation to the downside, and then we are approaching the distribution phase, and right with New York AM. So 8 a.m. New York time, I took the entry. And why did I take the entry? First of all, because of that accumulation, manipulation, distribution power of free thinking, and because of this candle right here. And we call this a manipulation candle.
Please don't miss that. What's the best way for folks to find out more about you?
YouTube, Funnel Brothers. Twitter, Hamza_XAU, and also Instagram, Hamza_XAU.
Well, folks, what we'll do is hook those links up in the show notes here to his profile, where you'll be able to click on all those. Whilst you're down there, hit subscribe, like, and that notifications bell, and we'll see you in that charting video right here.